Alright, quick mic check. Hello chat. Sorry. Hello, welcome. Just jumping in, my name is Almagus. Hello, and we are in the Kefka Narshe Tournament here in the quarterfinals between Takaze and the Kov. Hope you can hear me. Hope everything's okay on my end. Sorry, I just came back from dinner and saw that commentators were needed, so here we are. Right now, live. Yeah, this tournament has been going on for a short while now. We had a small break during AGDQ, but are now back in the quarterfinals. As you can see, both runners are currently at the start 3 minutes in roughly, and we get to our first tutorial, or the first boss of the game, which is basically a tutorial boss. Basically, what you missed without commentary is you saw that Veg and Vix ran away in the random encounters. Simply put, you want them to run away because Terra needs to soak up more experience so that the next characters that join us will start at a higher level. For now, Kov got bad luck here. Welk works in a way that the front part of the boss is effectively the one you want to kill. The back part, the shell, what's supposed to happen is that Welk goes back into it. We can skip that though by, you see both runners attacking the shell, it will counter-attack, and if its ATB is full, it will circumvent that with the counter-attack, that it goes, that the front part goes back in the shell. Takaze got a very nice quick kill there. Unfortunately, Welk does know an ability that will slow one of your party members, and he got a cast on Terra. Terra is very essential for this battle because she has the most powerful mag attack ability called Tech Missile, which will 3-shot this boss. And if she's slowed, you have to do the counter canceling twice, which effectively loses you 30 seconds. So Kov is not off to a very good start here. Very, very unfortunate. But yeah, that gives Takaze an early lead. Fortunately, this is Final Fantasy VI, and 30 seconds don't mean a whole lot in this game. Especially in this short game category, it's all about the little things that can happen to you that you have to react to in encounters, so we'll definitely still have an exciting race in front of us here. For now, we get to relax a bit during a couple cutscenes where, you know, things happen. Sorry, I'm kind of unprepared. Yeah, we get to name Terra. We get to see our next character lock in a little bit here. We're going to have a short segment here. Both runners did set up a step route for a very specific seed. If you know RPG speedrunning, usually these older games work in a way where you can predict when and what encounters you get. It is set up in a way that you reset the game a certain amount of times before you start the run, so you actually know what kind of encounter seed you start on, and both runners did that beforehand to have a, well, pretty much ideal encounter pattern for the whole run. For the start here, there's going to be a short segment where we want to get Terra to level 6. Again, simply because we want the characters to join afterwards to be higher level, they will all scale on average party level slash, in this case, it's just Terra, so it's Terra's level. I want to get her to level 6. I'm going to fight 4 encounters before we go to the next, or continue to the next part of the game. Alright, I can see takaze with that 30-second nade is going into the mines first. And again, I know exactly when they will get the encounters. So, talking about the step routing, you make a mistake in a certain spot, it might cost you the first half hour roughly, because we do have a reset after about 32 minutes. Doesn't matter too much with the step route, but afterwards, it's relatively precise. If you get off the step route, it can cost you pretty big time, so hopefully both runners will not make a mistake in that regard. One step can be costing you a minute or two. For the start though, it's not that bad. You can make a mistake here and there and won't impact too much. Kov a bit nervous maybe. He didn't multi-target the fire there. You multi-target spells in this game by pressing R. So, Kov maybe misinput there, costing him a little bit more time. takaze already 3 fights in. And takaze will be farming a 4th battle here to get the level 6. And then he'll be moving on to the next part of the game. These repo mans, by the way, also sort of annoying. They can counter-attack before they die with the range, which effectively costs a little bit of time. That is random, though. So it's another small factor there that influences your time a little bit. takaze fell at about 8:06. A really, really good, solid opening. Falls below 7 minutes down there, but 8 minutes. Below 8 minutes. 7.5x is a pretty solid opening. So takaze is not too far off of that. And yeah, Kov getting a nice preemptive there. And it's gonna fall about... he lost a bit more time over takaze there because of the misinputs. About 40 seconds now roughly between the runners. But again, in FF6, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's certainly not a good start for Kov, but can be made up. Kov didn't fail the quick kill, he got unlucky. His Terra got slowed, so he had to opt to do the counter cancelling twice. Which is really, really unfortunate. He didn't make a mistake though, and he got it, so didn't get any additional time loss off that. But that's still 30 seconds down the drain for bad luck, unfortunately. But yeah, we're getting through a couple more cutscenes here. And then our next party member will be introduced momentarily. It's a bit of a... The start is a bit of a... slower paced, or is a bit slower paced than, I'd say, from mid to end of the run, where you have pretty much action almost the whole way through. There's like small cutscenes here and there, but yeah. Alright, takaze gets to name lock here. We do name the characters one letter because text in this game obviously draws out. And the shorter the character names is, the more time you can save, because you have less text to draw out. So for most characters in the short game category, it makes sense to actually do that still, even though it's only an hour and a half, except for Shadow, because Shadow doesn't have a lot of text boxes, so the runners will probably opt out to not do that on Shadow. Alright, so coming up with Locke, we do have a first very interesting mechanic in especially Final Fantasy VI. You have these multi-party battles once in a while in this game. Twice in this category, actually. This is more or less the introduction to it. You have to defend Terra from all these enemies that come at you by placing 3 parties to fight all these things, enemies that come at you. Here you get like all these Mughals in your party that are basically not really great characters, but yeah, this is also just to introduce you to this system. What you can do though is all you need to do for this segment is to defeat the boss at the end, and what the runners are going to do, as you can see on Takaze's screen right now, they are just going to dodge all these enemies and then just run up straight to the boss, which is going to be the Marshal. So we're choosing the party with Mog in it. Mog is going to be the only Mughal that you're supposed to be, or that is supposed to be playable later in the game. All other Mughals, you're locked out of equipment and all that stuff. Mog is also really, really strong, as you can see. But the main reason we choose this party is really that you can actually also steal Mog's equipment here. All other characters, Mughals, are locked out, but you can steal the Mithril Pike and the Mithril Shield from Mog, which Takaze is going to attempt here. There we go, Pike and Shields, and that's very, very good. It's not the greatest equipment ever, obviously, but for the start of the run, we're not gonna get much better than that, so definitely want to get our hands on that. And God bless shared inventories. Okay, that was a relatively good fight from Takaze there. Imagine he wanted that to be a little bit better than what he's currently had, but that's still alright. Let's see how Kov does. Marshall has 420 HP. So you want to make sure that before you deal the killing blow, you steal the pike and the shield. Kov opting to not get the shield. The shield is not that essential, it's just the pike that is really important. The shield does give some additional safety in a couple of spots, but it's not really required by any means. This run is about an hour and 30 minutes. Most runners will be aiming for a 124 completion, which would be ideal. So we're going to be seeing times between 124 and 127, I would say, for the end of this tournament, roughly. And Takaze is at a Narshe at 1341, which is pretty average. And now moving on. Again, they both know exactly on what steps they get encounters, and the encounters for the most part are designed in a way that they are beneficial towards the run. So generally speaking, in FF6, the fewer enemies are in an enemy formation, the easier it is to run away from them. So for the start here, you can see we have these 2 single leafers, and boom, we run away almost immediately. That's generally speaking. It's not always entirely true, but it's a general rule of thumb. Nice preemptive, though, for Kov there, which gives him an almost instant runaway as well. And one more encounter here for Kov, and then he's also off to Figaro. Figaro being the end of the, well, starting section. This is about 5 minutes of introducing characters, setting up the story, basically. So there's not too much happening. In terms of speed running, you still want to make sure that your movement is on point, because you see these NPCs move all around. The NPC movement value is also set at the start of the game. If you have very, very good movement and do everything the same way every time, your NPC can predict how NPCs move effectively. NPC movement value advances every single second, so as long as you don't make any big mistakes, you know what's coming to you with the NPC movement, and that can be beneficial in quite a few spots where NPCs could potentially get in your way. So the runners still want to pay attention that their movement doesn't get messed up or they miss out on movement here and there. Other than that, we get to know the King of Figaro, Edgar, who's going to be one of our main damage dealers later on. And yeah, like I said, we're also gonna get to name his brother, who we don't know, or don't know where he is yet. That's going to be 7. And yeah, from there, bit of introduction to the story. Terra was controlled by the Empire, knows magic. All that good stuff. Magic? Yes. And now, the Kingdom of Figaro, who's actually, you know, on the surface allied with the Empire, that is, like, seeking out this magic in order to dominate the world, is collaborating with a group called the Returners, which is fighting against the Empire. And our main goal is going to be to go up against the Empire effectively. And in order to achieve that, we're going to eventually escape with Edgar here from Figaro to meet up with the leader of the Returners, and from there plan our strategy against the Empire. And the category that we have here, Kefka and Narshe, is going to end when we have our first big showdown with the Empire. So it's a nice little, about a quarter of the game category. Alright, so again, this tournament has been held for the past about 2 months. We had a break during AGDQ, now we're in the final stages. These are the quarterfinals, best of 1, obviously. And both the runners have been doing really well in the tournament so far. Let me quickly check what happens if they win. I'm gonna have to pull up my bracket out of nowhere here, while they are still going through the cutscenes. If it would load, that would be fantastic. There we go. Alright, so they're up against Vani next. Alrighty. Vani has is one of the runners that has been practicing and playing a lot, so that's definitely not an easy task for any of these two, but I'm sure they would be very ecstatic to join Vani in the semifinals, which we're almost about to have. This is the last quarterfinal match, interestingly enough, and semifinals and finals are going to be played on the same day, back-to-back, all action, so we should be definitely looking forward to that. And yeah, we also have LCC versus Lin, Clash of the Titans, the actual tournament final, no offense to anybody else. Oh yeah, Takaze is coming to an end of the cutscenes here. Again, this is like one of the small downsides of the short game category. The start is a little bit slow. The first like 20 minutes, there's like 2 fights and that's that. You know, gotta run away a little bit here, farm a bit there, but you know, establishing the story is important in an RPG, so the game does that for you. And from here though, things are going to be picking up slowly but steadily. The brackets put them on the same side because, I don't know. I didn't make the brackets, so don't ask me how that worked out. I'm just here to complain about the brackets. Let's see. But yeah, Vani and Essentia were also undefeated, so they were on the other side. Kof should still be about 40 seconds behind, unless I missed a complete mishap in the cutscenes from takaze. About 40-second difference. But from here on out, we're going to have a lot of things that can go potentially wrong, or that down runners have to react to properly. First and foremost, we do have another quote-unquote boss battle here against the M-Tech armors, which, well, they are basically just normal enemies. You auto-crossbow them twice. This is basically to introduce you to back attacks that you shouldn't have seen up until this point. But yeah, like I said, auto-crossbow them twice, and that's done. That's easy enough. You'll see good runners of this game, like Takaze, for instance. He did already start moving items in his inventory to save that time during animations. So he's already organizing his inventory for the future a little bit there, putting the sleeping bags down. And Kof now in the M-Tech fight as well. I'm gonna have his auto-crossbow here, and you're right, I must have missed like something that did not go Takaze's way, because Kof is a lot closer than he should be. But so much the better for the race, I would say. So with the end of this cutscene block here, like I said, it's established we have to fight the Empire, we gotta get to the Returners. That's the plan for this. Throughout the whole category, basically, that's your plot for you. And yeah, from here, we already mentioned it at the start. So we leveled up Terra so that Locke would join level 7, and then effectively Edgar joins at level 8. And we're going to be doing, on the way to the Returners hideout, which is going to be past 2 dungeons here. We're going to have the Cave of South Figaro and then Mount Colts after that. We're going to level up our party even more. And again, the step route is put in a way where the encounters we get here are mostly beneficial for our experience gain. We want to level all characters to level 10, 9, and 8, so our next party member joins at 11. And that's going to require us to almost fight everything. There's a couple exceptions where we want to run away. I'll point those out along the way. The big thing for speedrunning here is that, again, preemptive attacks are always good, because you get to go immediately, you save a lot of time in them. But there's also the potential of back attacks, or even pincer attacks in some cases, that can be very, very hazardous to your speedrun. You can lose a lot of time in them. Takaze got 2 preemptives, I believe, so that's a good time save right there for him already. Those are all frame-based, so like, if you would play frame perfectly, you could technically manipulate this stuff, but that would require you to be a robot, so the runners generally don't know whether they are going to get these preemptive attacks or side attacks or whatever, so it's all up to fate, and that can basically also decide a race. Like, this kind of small stuff you have to pick up on, and as a runner, your goal is really to see, okay, I start the battle with this and this ATB, and I have to react this and this way to set up my menuing the fastest I can. That's basically what the runners have to do here. Okay, and Takaze got through the first 3 encounters that we all defeat with auto-crossbow very easily, and is now in South Figaro. Now, you saw Takaze, if you paid attention, you saw him move on the world map in a specific way. I'll explain that in the... well, after the next dungeon, I guess, is a good enough time. For now, we get to buy relics, and the most important thing is that we can finally buy sprint shoes, which will make us move faster, which in a speedrun, that's pretty good, I'd say. It's very unfortunate that the game has this mechanic where you actually have to equip a relic in order to move fast, but hey. The runners also want to backrow the party members because abilities like the auto-crossbow or magic like fire, it's not affected by rows, and you take less damage in the back row, obviously. So yeah, we're on to Mount Colts on Takaze's stream here, and he is one of the few exceptions that we have for encounters that we don't want to fight. The brawlers here, they don't give a lot of experience, so there's a couple of brawler encounters that we cannot really avoid on a step route, so what we do instead is just run away from them. And Koff is doing pretty well also. Just one encounter behind effectively. We do make a little detour here in Mount Coles to get the Atlas Armlet, which increases your physical damage output by a little bit, and that's very, very good for the auto crossbow. Makes a lot of things go much, much smoother, because without the Atlas Armlet, you couldn't one-shot certain enemies here, which with the Atlas Armlet equipped, you can definitely do that. Koff got a back attack there. That's not only bad because it loses you a little bit of time, you also see that Terra got hit for a lot of damage there. She's down to 60 HP. So what he might end up doing at some point is having to heal, which obviously also costs you time. Alright, so we need to level Edgar and Terra twice here on Mount Coles. Locke only one time though, because Locke's experience is very good from the get-go. So in one big battle with 4 enemies, we want Locke to run away, and takaze beautifully demonstrated that right there. Got it on the first battle here. See, Koff should be able to follow up with this battle here, and yeah, it's just the reason for that is just like I said, Locke doesn't need as much experience as Edgar and Terra do. So in one battle, to distribute more experience to Edgar and Terra, we need him to run away. Koff not getting the runaway there. So he will have to do it at a later point, and there is the heal as well, which will cost him a little bit of time. Pulling takaze ahead a little bit further. Yeah, Koff's getting a good runaway. Takaze also needed to heal there, if I saw that correctly. And takaze's in the last part of Mount Coles here. There's going to be these enemies called Trilliums here, which can be really, really annoying. Let's hope for the runner's sake that they are not. Trilliums have an ability called Bane Touch that can poison you, and if you get poisoned, you need to go into the menu and use Antidote. Like, there is no way around that. You don't want to carry the poison, it's going to be bad for you. Nice side attack for takaze there. That's going to save him a lot of time. And he can already equip Edgar and Locke with the better weapons. Nice. Very good for takaze right there. 2 of these 2 Trillium formations can be ran away from. All the experience we need is really going to be from achieved without having to fight 2 of these formations. So whenever you get a preemptive on these 2 Trilliums, you kind of want to try and run away. But, yeah, we'll see. Excuse me. Okay, I think so far nobody has run away from Trillium sets. Yep, takaze needs to try to run away now. He's got all the experience he needs and 2 more encounters to go. Also get a good run away from him. Koff killing more Trilliums. And takaze is getting the last encounter before the boss here. Good runaways. There's the Bane Touch! And it missed! It missed. Okay. Phew! That was pretty lucky for takaze there. Otherwise he would have had to go into the menu. Although, if Locke gets Bane Touched, I guess it's okay. It's not really great, but, you know, you can deal with it. He's moving into the next boss fight, though, which is Vargas and his bears called Aipu. What you want to do here, you want to start out with a fire and then auto crossbow. That will finish one of the bears, and then finish the last bear with another fire. You specifically want to start with the fire spell, so Terra gets a little bit of ATB ahead for the second fire, and you can finish off the Aipus. As long as these Aipus are in the front, Vargas cannot be touched, and then after these Aipus die, you can actually start attacking Vargas, who will always open his battle with Gale Cut as soon as he gets a turn. There it is. But as soon as you deal enough damage to him, this battle will become a scripted battle afterwards. Takaze is having a pretty good fight here. should be done very soon. Maybe one more fire, and that should do it. There we go. And then it becomes a scripted battle where our next party member, Sabin, will jump in, and you get a little tutorial on Sabin's special ability called Blitz, and you have to use a Blitz in order to finish off the battle. Well, not just any Blitz, but specifically the Pummel Blitz. Got an early Doomfist there, very nice. There we go, using Pummel, and that will finish off Argus. Okay, Koff not too far behind, just now also entering the cutscene. It's about a 31-44 kill or transition for takaze there. Let's compare with Koff here, who definitely seemed to have the less good Mount Colts, so he might be losing a little bit of time here over takaze. Ah, there's the deal. Oh, that's unfortunate. Now he's losing all the time from the text box there as well. Ah, man. Okay. And it's about a 32-32 transition. So yeah, it is about a 50-second gap now. It's about 48. Which is, that's really unfortunate. Batman calls, yeah. Not much you can do about that, really. Could have probably reacted a little bit differently in a couple spots, but ultimately you're at the mercy of the enemies cooperating with you, so eh. Takaze getting a back attack on the world map here, which is not too bad. And then you see these runners, especially around these light areas on the world map, moving in very specific ways. That's because the edges of these areas have tiles that do not increase your step counter or threat counter. So you want to touch these tiles in order to avoid encounters as good as possible. That's why the runners that keep zigzagging around these tiles and all that stuff. There's a bunch of them on the world map, and usually you want to touch them if it's possible. And Koff also seems to be a little off on the step route, getting the same back attack. Alright. Your main goal here is to not have Terra die before the return of side out. That's really everything that you need to pay attention to. Alright, he got in there too. Good, good. A short segment here where we get to meet the leader of the returners, Bannon. And afterwards, you know, they are just pretty much trying to get Terra to cooperate. The main thing that we as speedrunners do in the Returner hideout here is that we will loot the place from all the good stuff it has, which includes a Phoenix Down and a couple of relics that can be of use for us, and a weapon that we will use in a little bit. You have to talk to all your party members and then go and talk to Bannon. Now, the interesting thing here is Bannon will give you a choice to, and he will say whether you, or ask whether you have decided to help them out or not. And if you say yes, you'll get a cutscene at the, you know, they will sit around the table and discuss and everything, and then, you know, the plot will progress normally, and you will get a relic that is called the Gauntlet. Now, if you say no 3 times, though, not only do you not get the cutscene, but you also get a better relic, which is called the Genji Glove, which is going to help us out very, 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 very much. Because the Genji Glove is a relic that you can equip that lets you equip 2 weapons at the same time, instead of a weapon and a shield. And it was supposedly going to be the way that the Genji Glove, even though, you know, you were supposed to equip 2 weapons, but they were supposed to be weaker because you have 2 weapons at the same time. However, that didn't quite really happen in the game. You still get 2 weapons and they're at full power, so yeah. that's going to be really, really good for the next couple boss fights. We're going to be using that on Edgar mainly, who will have the Mithril Pike and the Mithril Sword equipped. That's going to be really, really helpful. The Gauntlet would be a relic that lets you wield a weapon in 2 hands, but that's not quite as good as having 2 weapons, unfortunately. So yeah. And you don't get the cutscene with the sitting at the table if you say no 3 times. More importantly, though, I've been talking about step route on and off, and this is the next big point in the run where the runners will need to do a reset. Why? We have a section coming up called Elite River, and there is a way to manipulate this river. The way it works is there are certain points on this river where the game checks what your NPC movement value is, and depending on the value, it will give you an encounter. So what we want to do here is we want to reset and set our seed, or advance our seed by a little bit right there. Takaze, you see reset there again. And that will not only set our seed or advance our seed a little bit, it will also set the NPC movement to a certain value. Like, set it up in a way where we know exactly where we're at, and once the guard that walks around there enters the wooden carpet, that's our signal to actually enter the Elite River section. There's going to be 2 encounters here, and after that, there is 7 points where the game checks, okay, what's your NPC movement value? And encounter yes, no. And with this manipulation, with the resets, we can circumvent all of these encounters, which is huge. So yeah, we have these 2 forced encounters that you can't avoid. Let's see, interestingly enough, there's an option where you can level on these pterodons. Takaze is going to try and do it. Okay. You can get Edgar level here, which makes this next upcoming boss fight and the fight at the very end of the run a little bit more stable and better. So Takaze is going for it. You can also skip it for the short game category, though. But yeah, if everything went right and the runners did everything correctly, you shouldn't see any more random encounters on Takaze's screen. And once Kof gets past the pterodons, you should also not see any more encounters there. Now, as you might have noticed, we also got Banon in our party now. Banon is, just like the Mughals, you can't actually touch his equipment or anything. He also has only 120 HP, very unfortunate. Another really nice quirk about Banon, though, is that if Banon dies, it's game over. So, yeah, that's something you gotta pay attention to. And since he is really, really weak, that is something you gotta worry about at all times. Now, fortunately, as we are moving towards our next boss on Takaze's screen here, this next boss that is upcoming is scripted, so there shouldn't be any issues unless the runners mess up. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it's going to be everybody's favorite squid, Ultros. So the way Ultros works is Ultros attacks in the first 2 turns are scripted. Like, he's going to start off with a physical attack no matter what, and the next 2 are going to be, he's going to use Tentacle on Terra, and then Tentacle on Sabin. Similar to what we did with Walk, though, we can also try to employ our counter-canceling technique that whenever you attack Ultros with fire, he's going to counter-attack. And if you time it just right, you can get the fire on Ultros when his ATB is full, and he will counter instead of using his scripted attack and reset his ATB. So it seems like Takaze got it no problem there, which is very, very nice. And that will effectively make the fight 100% safe from that point onwards. It's just a matter of how fast can you kill him from this point. Ideally, you don't even want to see another attack, which I think Takaze is on pace for here. Nice. Good fight from Takaze. Very well done. So he got that fight down perfectly. Let's see if Kof can follow up here. Ooh, that was the slow magic select from Kof there. He might Ah, that seems to be still good. Yep, got the ink, and then... Alright, sweet. Koff seems to be on pace for a very good fight here too, so both runners doing really well. The time that separated them should stay about the same, since both runners did everything pretty much perfectly. Alright, very nicely done. Good stuff. Both runners with very good ultras. It's about 50 seconds still, so yeah. Both runners didn't do anything wrong. Perfect play. Cheers. Cheers, guys. Alright, and at this point in the game, we got separated into 3 factions, basically, and you get to choose who you want to play first. Now, this is very interesting for us, from a speedrunning perspective, of course, because, you know, you have free reign over what you do first. And all 3 parties do have a shared inventory. So you could technically play with Terra and Edgar first, or with Locke, and you could get relics and stuff with Locke that might be beneficial for the other parties. We do choose Sabin first, though, for one simple reason. Excuse me. And that is because in Sabin's scenario, which is also the longest, you can eventually buy smoke bombs, which will let you run away from battle immediately. And also, not only that, but also from pincer attacks and stuff, which is really, really, really nice. Because without smoke bombs, pincer attacks are the worst thing that can happen to you. And hopefully we don't get to see that, but it's rumored to have destroyed one or the other run before. Again, also very important, this is the part where the step route actually matters. Both runners are still on step route. We also recruited Shadow, as you can see, but more about that in a little bit when Shadow actually becomes important. This part right here, the after the Imperial base where we are just at now, is going to be the Phantom Force, and that is where the step route is actually really important. They have to make sure not to make any mistakes whatsoever, or they'll be sorry, as they say. But for now, Takaze still about 50 seconds ahead here, and we get to see the Empire attack a kingdom called Doma, and we're going to meet one of our next party members here. It's Mustache Man. No, it's Cyan. Now, Cyan, is going to be a very interesting character. He's pretty broken, and you'll see how and why in, I'd say 20 minutes. Well, I mean, you get a taste right here in this tutorial battle as well. So, untypically for the run, normally you want to have the battle speed on the highest setting. In this specific instance, we change it because we want the enemy to go faster. Because Cyan has an ability called Sword Tech, and the second one is Retort. And Retort, you know, you activate it, and then whenever you get attacked, you counterattack with Retort. And it's pretty strong, as you can see. Pretty good ability. But that's just for this one battle. I didn't see the drop. Now, the general here is a very interesting enemy in that he has 2 drops that he can give you. 7 out of 8 times you get the Black Belt, which is a relic that will let you counterattack. You do kind of want that for this, even the short game category, because it's an easy sell and you can get good money for it. 1 out of 8 times he will drop a Phoenix down, which notoriously used to kill runs. Maybe still to this day does kill runs. I'm not too sure about full game categories anymore, but the Phoenix down doesn't sell for as much as the Black Belt does, which is kind of the annoying part. However, for the short game category, a Phoenix down is not even the worst thing, because it's an additional safety item. One thing this game has is Phoenix Downs are really expensive and rare at the start of the game, so If you get an additional one, that's not even too bad. You just have to do a little bit different money management to buy the smoke bombs later, but it's not too big of a deal. Alright, so after this short tutorial with Cyan, we get to see that Kefka has plans to attack Doma, and not in the conventional way. He wants to poison everybody. And Shadow and Salmon get wind of that, and of course want to try to stop him. We will have two fights here where you see Kefka not really appearing as an enemy because there is no name in the bottom left box. That's because Kefka is actually a part of your party in these battles. And all you need to do is attack him once and then he'll run away. But yeah, speaking of Shadow, why do we actually go out of our way and pick up Shadow? So ideally, it is faster to... That's an ideal setting though. To skip over Shadow. Because, you know, you have all this talking, you need to name Shadow and all that good stuff. Costs a lot of time. However, doing this particular part with Sabin only is the horror, because the fight that is coming up is one of the hardest at the start of the game here, and having two party members for it is just so much better than having one, because here takaze is moving into the Soldier Templar fight, and all four of these can potentially counterattack you, even on death. So having Shadow here is a huge help. We also got to see Interceptor there, very nice. So if you would do this with Sabin alone, you would have to rely on the Black Belt actually proccing and not getting completely destroyed by counterattacks, which is very rough. Still, ideally it would be faster, but yeah, with Shadow you can just also throw the air lance that we picked up in the Returner's hideout, so that's really nice and easy there. A little menu both runners did there is actually moving the ninja gear, which increases the speed of a character from Shadow to Sabin, because in the grand scheme of things, Sabin does have more DPS than Shadow. Very nice preemptive for Koff there, by the way. That will save him a little bit of time because the soldiers will pretty much not go. So he doesn't have to worry about them actually attacking. Maybe only the counter. Yeah, there's a counterattack. Alright, but both runners got through that fight really nicely. I think takaze had one misinput there because of Interceptor. But other than that, it looked to be very nice. Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't stop Kefka from poisoning Doma, so now the people of Doma are all getting poisoned. And Cyan realizes that the king dies, and unfortunately, Cyan's family will also not see quite the best end. So Cyan will decide eventually to attack the Imperial base all by himself, and that's why we will meet up with Sabin and Shadow, and basically we'll start running around with Cyan then. There's other dogs in this game, but you can't control them and you have to fight them. You never see them in this category because I think dogs appear in lock scenario if you fight there, but we're not going to be seeing that. So race-wise, after these cutscenes, we'll see exactly how far apart the runners are. I'm gonna take a screen transition to make sure to get that. But yeah, Cyan in Blind Rage, of course, going into the base. And takaze will start the next fight here, which there's going to be 3 fights like these that are coming up. You can only control Sabin and Shadow in these, and Cyan will randomly take actions. You do want to see Cyan attack normally, very nice, because he can either do an attack or use Dispatch, with Dispatch being a bit slower, so that's a very good first fight for takaze there. see what Cyan does for him in the second as a dispatch. Oh well. Goodbye time. Alright, runners are about 47 seconds apart, by the way. And we got one more. Now the last fight here on Takaze's screen, the first two fights you just have to attack. This one's a bit different. The Cadet has about 380 HP. So depending on what Cyan does in his first turn here, you have to react properly. Alright, so yeah. Or you could just get Wild Fang and it doesn't matter. Very nice, very nice. Interceptor doing the work. I'm not even sure that's safe time. I would say no, but yeah. Always good to see Interceptor. Okay, and then as a little throwback to the beginning of the game, the characters get into Magitech armor, and we get 3 forced fights with those. Alright. Let's see, Kov is having a bit of a rough time here. The Cadets, this Dirk hopefully finishes it? Alright, there we go. Okay, but yeah, now we're in Magitech, and we have 3 forced fights here, which effectively you just have to shoot the beams at the enemies and it's all good. Most of the runners will opt to do something called Rainbow Beam, where you have one character use Fire Beam, one character use Ice Beam, one character use Bolt Beam. Now here's an interesting thing, this is a pincer attack, huh? This is usually not a pincer attack. I'm not even sure if this is going to be very bad. But he's going to take some damage. He got... okay, he's fine, he's fine. Just costing him a little bit of time. It's all good. These Magitech armors do know abilities that deal a lot of damage to you, so that can actually land a back attack on Kov's screen. Wow. That can actually be a factor. You'll see Tech Laser right now, which will deal about 78 damage, which is about half HP, so... if that happens too often, it can lead to some complications, but usually you don't really see that in runs. Alright, and takaze got through the gauntlets here, leaving the base at 53:35-ish. Moving on to the aforementioned Phantom Forest. Now again, remember that step route thing, it's going to be very important right this instant. This is one of the worst areas at the start of the run. Right here at the start of the forest, you'll find either one ghost or like a ghost with some other enemy. It's not important. In the step route, it's only single ghost, of course. We're going to be moving on to the Phantom Train, and the Phantom Train has a lot of really nasty enemies on it. And that is why the step route is so important. And we don't want our runners to make any mistakes. Okay. So, let's see. Kov is going to exit the base at... a pincer on Takaze's stream! 54:25, so 50 seconds between the runners still. But yeah, you can see why pincer attacks are very bad for you. Not only does Takaze have to defeat one side of the battle now, he will also have to run away afterwards. So yeah, like, this is costing him a huge amount of time, and this is definitely Kov's chance to come back here. That is definitely very good for Kov, who needed something like that to happen to catch up a little bit. Very unfortunate, but nothing you can do about it. Fortunately, ghosts are of course undead, and you can use the potions on them to immediately kill them, which makes it relatively easy, but yeah. Takaze moving on to the Phantom Chain, and again, I said this 2 times already, very important to not make mistakes here. This chain has a lot of enemies that are very nasty. Not really in the way, well, some of them can kill you even, but most of these enemies that you can meet up with here are really slow to run away from. So the step route has it set in a way where you get encounters that are mostly going to be beneficial for you to running away fast. At the start of the train here, you have a little bit of leeway with the steps, because in the second car here, we're going to force one encounter with 3 still goings. But from here, our movement has to be perfect. No mistakes, no nothing. If we make one misstep, that might cost us big time. So, gotta pay attention that both runners don't make any mistakes. Kof got a preemptive there, always good to see that. Target time is about a 124. The runners would definitely be happy with a 126 if they win. But yeah, it's about like between 124 and 127-ish. Kof getting closer to Takaze, who is currently running away from ghosts and realizing that there is no escape. Jump 7! And if you think that's the best thing 7 can do, wait until the boss fight. I hope they're doing it. Alright, so Takaze gets to continue, detach the train car, and then move on. Ken follows now. Okay, Takaze got a relatively good runaway there. Yeah. Again, he can't make any step movement mistakes though. Now, this part of the train, very nice preemptive attack for Takaze. These bombs, they are easy to run away from. You most of the time get fast runaways from the bombs. Also picking up the earrings here, I'm gonna talk about those in a little bit. But there's a couple bomb encounters here. They are easy to run away from, which is why they are in the step route. However, they can very rarely get turns and then blaze you for 200 damage. So you have to be extremely careful not to underestimate the strength of those bombs and heal up in a race setting. Ooh, a back attack for Takaze. That could potentially be bad. Ah, he got lucky. The bomb didn't even get a turn. Very nice, very nice. I think there is one more, or is that already it? That's already it, man. Takaze with a really good Phantom Train then. Rolling in. Gonna be a sub-hour train there. Let's hope Kof does the same. Ah, there's a blaze on Kof's stream, and you can see it's a bit rough. Ooh, Eviltude. Alright, no confusion, no berserk, very nice. Eviltude inflicts random status effects from poison to slow to imp to actually hazardous ones, which are confusion and berserk, which can be very bad for you. But yeah, no suplex, going as fast as they can, just Phoenix down the Phantom Train and it dissolves. Okay, Kof also still on step route, very important. Following up here. That was his last bomb encounter, so he's going to get through here and fight the train himself. Now again, the reason it was so important to keep step route is not only are the encounters here very beneficial and save a lot of time over just a random, run through the Phantom Train. If you get off step route, there's also one encounter you get before the next area that will impact the time you spend on the Veld, which is going to be coming up shortly. So if you make a mistake, that might already cost you like about 30 seconds as well. Just one misstep. Kof getting also evil-tooted, but able to finish off the Phantom Train just as Takaze did. And I think takaze somehow managed to gain time on Kov, which I find interesting, because takaze got that amazing pincer attack. But yeah, he's leading by, I think, a minute now. So yeah, we have about 25 minutes to go, but that doesn't mean that Kov can't win anymore. On the contrary, this is the most fun part of the run, actually. There's a lot of RNG coming up to you, and let's see what RNG has in store for us today. For now, we get to go through a short sequence where Cyan mourns over his family. The runners will use this time right here that takaze is about to come up to menu a little bit, because this timer that you need to have pass runs while you're in the menu as well. He's going to equip Sabin with earrings and the True Knights, and sort a couple items, and then make sure that his memory cursors are set in the way that he wants them to be. The earrings, by the way, do increase magical damage, and most of Sabin's blitzes, aside from Pummel and Suplex, are actually magical, so that will increase Sabin's damage output quite significantly. And yeah, takaze just walked to the next area here, the Baron Falls. If you are off step route, you'll get an encounter with a 3-pack of grasshoppers there, or Crasshoppers. And that will impact the area after this, and you will lose about 30 to 45 seconds at best. Like, if it can get even worse. So takaze having a good run so far, and not making any step route mistakes. I think Kov also still perfectly on step route. But yeah, once you get to Baron Falls, Shadow will leave your party, and you'll get thrown into this battle here where you're supposed to kill the piranhas until the boss appears. Effectively, there's a timer running in the background that once it reaches a certain amount of time, it will, after you kill piranhas, spawn the boss. However, I mentioned that Cyan is a little bit broken, and we will get to see why exactly that is right here. So you'll see takaze, Kov is off step route, by the way. He got the Crasshopper encounter. Ah, dang. I don't know what happened there, but that ain't good. But yeah, you saw takaze kill Cyan. So now, once you killed Cyan one time and revived him, Cyan is going a little bit crazy. Whenever you activate Retort now, instead of just like reacting with Retort when he gets attacked, he will react to anything. What you do now is you suplex, which is a physical attack, and retort counts as magic. Now you want... Once you suplex, Cyan is like, oh my god, I need to retort, and then does the counter attack, which is magical, and he will then proceed to attack the piranha, which isn't even supposed to end the battle. But because you use the combination of a physical and magical attack, it just bypasses the script for the battle, which is supposed to summon Rizopos, the actual boss, and finish the battle immediately. Had a little bit of a buffer there. I hope that was only on my end. Mayakov is also in the battle right now, utilizing his Phoenix down, and should then proceed to retort / suplex himself. There we go. Coming up right here for ya. Boom. Battle done. So yeah, takaze is about a minute ahead still. Rolling onto the Veld. Now, the Veld is a very special place. Works kind of differently than the rest of the game, really. Every encounter you get here, you can only get encounters you got before in the rest of the game. And it draws from 64 packs of enemies. So, like, there is a guide on GameFAQs where you can look up, okay, these formations are in these packs and so on and so forth. The big thing is we do want to avoid Templars and Soldiers. Fortunately, you can do that very easily because the first pack you get is determined by the seed you are running on. So since we're running on a good seed, we're never going to see Templars and Soldiers. Now, since Koff got the Grasshopper encounter, he will encounter them again on the Veld here, which is very unfortunate. But that's just something he's got to deal with. The goal for this area is to move on to Mobless, buy dried meat, and then recruit Gaul by using the dried meat in order to feed him. Gaul appears randomly after you win a battle in this area. Now the conditions for that is that none of your characters are dead, it's not a back or side attack, and then you have a 5 in 8 chance that Go actually appears, and Takaze of course gets it first try! Easy every time. Totally free. No questions asked. Nobody ever got Go like 4th or 5th try in the tournament and lost the race because of it. Hashtag salt. Anyways. It's about a 5 in 8 chance to get it. It's routed in a way where you have 2 encounters after you went to Mobless to actually make Gaul appear. You will fight a single ghost and a single bomb, which are easy to kill. And if he doesn't appear then, you get into trouble because you have to force another encounter and effectively go off step route, which for the short game category here doesn't really matter. In a full game run, you would probably want to reset at that point. But, yeah. Definitely not what you want to see. Koff is definitely very off step route. He already got the Grasshoppers before he even went to Mobless, so he's got his work cut out for him. He's got to hope for a good fight here. Additionally, if you get the Grasshoppers, instead of getting the bomb, you'll get the triple ghost here as well, which is not really good. Okay. He's using the potions, and now we can only hope that this will summon Gaul. Please? Oh dear. Next battle should be 2 guards and 2 Bomb-a-Moss. Ah no, he gets the bomb first. Aight, fair enough. No! No! No, but see, I mentioned, in order for God to appear, all your characters have to be alive. And Seven's dead. Yeah, he needs to use the tent. He remembered. Very nice. So you don't have a Phoenix down at this point, actually. So the only way to revive a character is by using this tent. Now, little quirk, Takaze sold his tent. So if that happened to Takaze, he would have to walk back to Mobless to actually revive his character. Alright, there's the Volmamoth guard. Now, please don't troll Koff anymore. Kappa, by the way. Sorry, we missed the Kappa. Oh, Takaze is having a beautiful Veld here, even getting the preemptive on the bomb. And he's off to the next area, taking his save here, taking his super save. I'm not sure if he's watching the stream, but he might know that he's ahead, so he can take the safety. Definitely not what you usually see from a top level runner. And there is Gaul for Koff. Damage control, now just has to use the giant meat. And now the gap is about 2 minutes, unfortunately. But that's really mostly to Koff's really bad luck. That's really unfortunate. That being said, we have about 15 minutes to go, and in these 15 minutes, there is sure a lot that can go wrong for Takaze. So we still have to see. It's not over until it's over. And there is also a reason why Takaze is safe. There's this very next part here is can be very devastating for you. So if you're a Koff fan, don't give up just yet. Don't give up just yet. Alright, so we're about to enter this Serpent Trench here, and the Serpent Trench is kind of like Lead River, in that you have forced encounters here for forced encounters, and they can be quite dangerous. The most annoying part about these encounters is that it's very, very hard to run away from them. So preemptive attacks or preemptive strikes are huge in this particular area of the game. Alright, the first battle, he got 3 Actineons, which is actually what you want to see. You can also get a single angle form here, which is notorious for killing runs, because if a single angle form is left alone for too long, it will aquarake your party and effectively wipe you. You will not quite die immediately, but you get put into very low HP, which is definitely not very good for this area. Alright, Takaze is having a decent 2 first fights, nothing out of the ordinary, just normal battles, which at this point I'm sure he's taking. Alright, and Takaze is going into the second phase here. 2 more fights for him. While Koff will be starting the Serpent Trench very shortly. Preemptive for that's not what the Koff fans want to see. As you can see, the preemptive makes these battles very short, so that's really good for Takaze. And a normal battle, so that's a pretty good Serpent Trench right there, I want to say. Oh, and he got Cyan killed! Wow! That was actually lucky. Now, unlike most other characters, Cyan actually runs away slower than the others. So if he gets killed in like the second to last or last battle, that's actually good for you. But yeah, I mentioned earlier why we are choosing this scenario. Takaze is now going to buy smoke bombs, and we will be able to use those smoke bombs in the other 2 scenarios. He's going to buy 15 right there. And he's probably also buying a second Mithril Pike, there you go. That is just to make sure that for the final boss of this category, we have enough damage to guaranteed finish the fight in 3 turns. Alright, so Takaze is out of 7 scenario, and we actually see when we have the screen transition here. Probably 113, 17. Let's keep that in mind. In the meantime, Koff going into the Serpent Trench. First encounter is a preemptive. That's definitely what the fans wanted to see. So, what Takaze is going to try to do here is what we call the guard clip. You can basically clip through any NPC in this game by opening the menu when an NPC is moving, and then like pretty much closing the menu, you clip into the hitbox that is not active until a little bit later. What this effectively does is circumvent all of the stuff that you normally have to do in lock scenario, and you can just straight up go to the end of the scenario. So you skip about, like, I think 6 minutes of... Nah, maybe not 6, it's maybe 4 minutes of stuff. I haven't done that in so long that I don't even remember, but you are supposed to steal clothes and all that nonsense. And there's also another character that I don't know. Ooh, pincer for Koff, that's bad. Let's see how he handles it. Alright, he got the kill on the right there, and okay, he's at least run away with Sabin. Meantime, Takaze did get back attacked on his way there. He's to be careful. Now, since Takaze only has 1 character, if that character dies, then it's lights out. Yeah, he does heal now, okay. I'm glad you did, because the next encounter is the dangerous one. Alrighty, preemptive though, so he's out of there. Takaze also picked up an item called the Thunder Rod, which is going to be very useful for the next boss. While Koff is out of the Serpent Trench, that was, not really great. 1 pincer attack pretty much destroys your Serpent Trench already. because, well, that's already, like, I don't know, 30 seconds lost for free. Okay. Takaze moving on to Tunnel Armor, and this is actually quite a difficult boss if you fight him casually. However, you can use rods in this game, or break rods, and they will, you know, just completely destroy your enemy. The way rods work is if you break them, they cast a tier 2 elemental spell. They always use the highest damage rolls, and they pierce magic defense, so even if an enemy has a really high magic defense, it will still completely obliterate it. As you can see, Tunnel Armor took 1400 damage, and it's an instant kill, so not much to that, really. And Takaze is moving on to the final scenario. Alright, there's about a 3-minute disparity between both runners right now. Which again, that seems like a lot, but I've seen things, so I wouldn't quite count this race done yet. Just as a little reminder, we still have Bannon in party, and if Bannon dies, it still counts as game over, so that is something the runners need to still watch out for. But yeah, Takaze is going into the Narshe Mines here, which is the last area before the end of the run. There's not much that can go wrong here. Since for some reason the developers of the game decided that it's a good idea to make this area full of enemies that you fought at the very, very start of the game, which I don't really understand, but hey! You know. Let's see, confiscating his Thunder Rod soon. Alright. Now the area Takaze is in right now, you have to follow the lights, and if you misstep one time, there will be these lights appearing around you, and if you touch one of the white lights, you will get into an encounter and throwback at the start. The black light that is circling around you at that time is an out, like you can break the chain with that if you hit that. Fortunately, if you just hold A, it turns out that you will hit that black light, and you can just break through it and like cut little bit of the way out, which is very nice. Tunnel Armor down for Koff. So he'll be moving on into the last scenario momentarily here. This last river segment, by the way, there's one encounter that you also get almost guaranteed, and then there's 2 other ones that you can skip, but they might still get you. Also NPC movement based, so depending on what movement you are on, you either get them or skip them, and it looks like Koff is only getting 1, so skipped one of them. And Takaze's in Arvis' house, so he'll be going through a couple of cutscenes and then prepare for the final boss battle of this category. So he'll be going through those cutscenes. Then I'm curious actually what pace he's on. Takaze's been playing really well. He only had that one pincer that was pretty bad luck. Other than that, he has had some good parts in this run, so I'm curious what pace he's on. Should be maybe about 126? I don't know. Maybe 125. We'll see. We'll see. Definitely a good run. Kof has to be careful. Since he's off step route, he gets these actual dangerous encounters here. But able to run away without a problem. Now going through the light room himself. I think he did make up a little bit of time. But not really anything substantial at this point. On takaze's side, the party of course meeting up and preparing for the final battle. We also get to meet General Kutan. Now you were supposed to get Celeste in luck scenario, but since we never actually talked to Celeste, she is going to appear as General Kutan because Celeste hasn't replaced Kutan in the memory yet. So we get to have Kutan in our party. But yeah, as you can see, the Empire is going to make an advancement on the Esper Tritalk. And our duty is to protect it, and just like at the start of the game with the Mughals, we're going to fight our first multi-party battle on our own here, where you can decide for yourself how to develop your parties. Since the goal, again, is to just beat the boss, we are going to put all of our strongest party member into one party, and then just gun for the boss immediately. So, that's what takaze is going to do here momentarily. He's going to save too, so he's definitely watching the stream, because I haven't seen anybody save there, specifically. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Alright, so yeah, we're going to put Edgar, Cyan, Gal, and Sabin into one party and then rush to the boss, which is Kefka and Narshe, obviously. And yeah, dodging these soldiers right here that are going to be coming at you is relatively simple. There's two spots where you can avoid all the soldiers, really. No chuplexes. So he's going to stand in this spot right here for a little while and then move on. Wait in the bottom left spot, and then once the soldiers are past, you'll gun for Kefka here. Alright. It's tricky to dodge this last soldier here, but no problem there. And moving into the Kefka fight. Now, Kefka is not extremely dangerous, however, you need to have at least 3 aura bolts to kill him. On Kefka's 3rd turn, he has a chance to cast Ice 2 on the party, and that can potentially wipe you. So you want to kill him before his 3rd turn. Nice. Okay, so he got the Aura Bolt in before Kefka's 2nd attack, which will mean he gets even the Iron Needle. Jeez, very good there. Alright, he will get one more attack in here. And the next couple attacks should finish off Kefka. There it is. And timing ends on the runaway sound. There it goes. And yeah, takaze is done in the race channel with a race time of 1:25:37. GG. Improving his race PB by 1 minute and 17. So there you go. Very well done. And we have our last semi-finalists in the lot. Takaze will be joining LCC, Lin, and Vani Von in the semifinals. Very well done there. Even with that nasty with that nasty pincer in the Defendant Forest, he managed to get a very, very nice time here. And now it's just off to Koff to finish out the run in style. Koff, by the way, is one of the runners that picked up this game just for this tournament. So seeing him in this and in the quarterfinals is definitely a very, very cool thing. Came a long way here. So a very, very nice run for Koff in the tournament here. Unfortunately, coming to an end, but yeah, he's got one more Kefka fight to go. Not doing the thing. Rip. Alright, Koff is moving into the Kefka fight. So same rules apply. You want to kill him before the third turn? Let's see if he can manage to do it. Hopefully he will get the second Aura Bolt here in before Kefka's second turn. Alright, looks good to me. That should almost guarantee him the kill. Alright, here we go. And the Aura Bolt should do it. Need the scissors. Oh man, that was really close. Alright, there you go though. And Koff's gonna finish with a time of 1:28:42 in SRL. GG, again, very, very nice tournament run for Koff, who picked up this game for the tournament. So yeah, being in the quarterfinals, definitely a very, very good feat. Cheers. Very well done. Unfortunately, I mean, I can see that Koff might not be exactly very happy with the way that ended, but hey, that's FF6 for you. But yeah, with that left, we are in the semi-final stage of the tournament now. We're going to be streaming that, I believe, on RPG Limit Break at some point. We're going to combine the semi-finals and the finals together. So that's going to be happening all at the same time. And it's going to be an exciting day for us, I think. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. GG's again to Takaze and Koff. I hope you enjoyed the race. Glad to be of assistance with commentary. Sorry about the start. Like I said, I just jumped in after dinner. I didn't know this was actually happening. So hope I did a fine job. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching.